Hey everybody, today we are going to be learning how to replace a pull cord light switch, apparently. Lucky for you, there's not a ton of supplies for this project. You'll need a pair of wire strippers, butt splice, and a new switch. So you can tell which switch it is because it's kind of a universal one. It looks like a little snail shell. This works for fans and lights like this. Piece of junk. The first step is that you got to gain access to the light panel. So, I had already kind of done this, but we'll show you here. Take it off, just like that. Nice and gentle. And then, you remove all the light bulbs but one. You'll see why here in just a minute. So as you can see, I've left one light bulb in. This way we can tell which light is being shut off when we go to our breaker box. So, meet me at the breaker box. So now it's time to go to the breaker box, which is always in the darkest, scariest, most inaccessible part of your house. I'm so scared. Alright, now that you're here, I suggest bringing a nice handy-dandy magnet light. Thank you, Dennis, Ciro's dad, I really appreciate it, and decipher your panel. So we're trying to shut off the one that is in the pantry, question mark? Alright, maybe it's this one. By Scott, the first one actually turned it off? Your next step will be gaining access to this switch. So the switch itself is buried inside this runner panel that we're going to have to disconnect. And I'm sorry, I lied. Your instructions must also include a flathead screwdriver, apparently. Now that we've carefully removed this panel, pay no attention to that. We have now exposed the wires along the length of the light panel. And with it, our little snail shell switch. So now we have to remove this from this side and the little screw that goes on that side. Now that you've removed your snail shell pull switch from the ceiling, you can see that there are two wires connected. One is your ground and one is your power. You only need to disconnect them up to the wire nut. Pay special attention to how these wires are connected and hold your new switch next to it so you can tell which way your wires will need to go. Now we need to disconnect those wires. Because you did your job right and turned off the correct breaker, when you disconnect these, you will just kidding. Now that you have the two wires disconnected, there will be some bare ends. You need to re-strip these wires so you have nice clean ends to connect to. If you've never done this before, I cut off the old ends of the wire. Then you need to take your stripper. You'll see the pliers here and it has the different gauges. Make sure that you select one where it doesn't pinch the wire completely, but you can go ahead and strip the wire down so you get to the bare wires. It'll look something like this when you're done. Ooh, see? Nice and pretty. So next you need to take your new snail shell pull chain switch, and the one that it came with will have these little wire ends on the end of them. What you need to do with these wire ends is remove them so that the wires are exposed. It looks like this. The next step is you need to twist the ends of these wires so that they have a nice clean end on them, and you need to plug in one end of each of them into one end of the butt splice. We'll show you what that looks like. So you take your nice new twisted end and you take your butt splice and you put it into here and you push it down on there nice and tight. And then you take the blunt ends of your wire strippers, not the sharp choppy point, but the little dull end, and you use it to crimp down the butt splice. So when you go up and you do it on the light part of it, you're going to do the same thing on that part, and you're going to crimp it down nice and tight so that you get a good nice seal. Don't go all the way because then it pinches the wire and you're going to lose your connection. So there you go, you got your old wires connected to your new wires through your butt splices, and it all hooks up to your new switch here. Now you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, did I have the wires the right way? Well, here's what you do. Leave everything undone and let's go back to the deep, dark, scary hole known as the breaker box. God, I hope this works. It gets so creepy back here. You turn the one on that you had off. There we go. Okay, everybody, now it's time for the moment of truth. Click the switch in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! And it didn't explode in my face. The next step is to take the switch and secure it into the hole where it goes. Your next step is to carefully replace the panel that you carefully removed in the earlier steps. No more wires hanging down. Last step, replace the screen, pull the light, and voila, you've done it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you were entertained and you learned something along the way. All you need are a couple of tools, a $5 switch, a creepy walk into the back room where your breaker box is, risk of electrocution, and you too can do this. You're welcome. We learned some valuable things here on Taylor Your Life, and I hope you appreciate it. If you do, please go over to my YouTube channel, Taylor Your Life, like it and subscribe it, because we're going to put out more fun and informative content just like this. Have yourselves a great night.